Howdy, folks. Welcome to Living with a Genius. I'm your host, Omar Crook. It's raining today here in LA. It's windy and wet. We've had a very, very rainy month and a half here, which has been great. We're just about out of the drought. I'm sure you all know that. And, my Jaguar is out on the street with a dead battery and the windows down. I woke up this morning and realized that I had cracked the windows to air it out from the last time it rained. So, ran out and threw a car cover on it. Wasn't too bad. Actually, the car, it's designed to be in the rain, I guess. So it seemed to be pretty dry inside. I was really surprised. Anyway, I don't know why I'm telling you. It's not really that interesting. Unless you want to buy a Jaguar, because I'll sell it to you. I'm ready. I think I'm ready. The plan was to keep it for my son, who's 4. So I only have, 13 years left to keep it out there. I don't know. It's probably not a very good plan. I haven't figured it out yet. I'm still thinking about it. But if anybody's really aching for a 95 XJS Jaguar convertible, it's in great shape, except for the battery. Give me a call. Anyway, today we've got John Mangum on the show. He's a comedian, co-host of Let's Make a Deal with Wayne Brady, and he's a regular guest on Whose Line Is It Anyway, one of my favorite shows. I want to thank Michael Nielsen for setting that up. John is a friend of Michael's, and he reached out and set it up for me. So I'll say that today's episode is co-produced by Michael Nielsen. Thank you, friend. Anyway, here's John. Happy Monday, everybody, and enjoy.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
You don't meet a lot of opera singers. Mike Rowe was an opera singer.
I know.
Yeah.
Do you know Mike?
I don't, but I've always followed his career, and I think he's so cool. And his Dirty Job show was always great. And then he tells great stories about working for QVC. And how he then started singing, and it was.
What's funny is that I have a colleague at the opera who went to Peabody, which is at Johns Hopkins, and Mike used to sing with the Baltimore Opera, either the Baltimore Opera or Washington National. I'm not sure.
I think it's Baltimore, because I remember hearing a podcast.
Yeah, and they knew each other, and my friend says he was just a really nice guy and a great singer.
You should get him on your podcast.
I'd love to. That's the thing. I started this podcast with the intention of talking to scientists and mathematicians and musicians, of course, and conductors and composers. And so far, it's mostly been conductors and composers.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
And directors, because of my job.
Yeah.
And in the music, in the music field, especially with film music, I've had some really good guests. I've had John Powell, who has done a bunch of work.
Yeah, that name sounds familiar.
He did How to Train Your Dragon. He was nominated for that.
Wow.
And, so I get people like that. But you're the first comedian. Would you consider yourself a comedian or an actor?
Yeah, both. Whatever.
Okay.
Actor, comedian.
Okay.
Asshole.
At least it's professional, though. As long as you're paid for it, that's fine.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is Hollywood. So tell me, first of all, let me preface what I'm about to say with the fact that I do very little research.
Great.
So I looked you up. On Wikipedia, I looked at your pictures and saw that you've done some things with Wayne Brady, and you've done some all sorts of interesting things on TV. But I don't really know that much about you. So. And I know that my listeners probably don't either, because as I said earlier, most of my listeners are musicians. So
people are going to listen to this?
I think some.
I was not told.
At least my mother will.
I thought it was just a bro hangout, man.
All right. So, first of all, are you from LA? Is this your home turf?
No, and I guess the answer is usually no for most people about where they're from, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Do you know anyone from here? I know I'm 4 people.
I'm 4th generation.
Are you really?
Yeah, Southern California.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're the guy.
I am. I'm it. I'm the holdout, I guess.
No, I was born in South Carolina, but I grew up, that's where I say I'm from, in Mobile, Alabama.
Oh, okay.
Which is way down south.
Yeah, sure. There was no, that's Biloxi, of course. But
Biloxi,
anyway, yeah.
Biloxi is about an hour and a half from my house, and we used to go there to buy wine coolers and gamble, because the drinking age was 18 for a while.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s. So
sure.
Drive to Mississippi, and no one likes beer when you're first drinking. It's just it's terrible.
I know, exactly.
So you drink.
But I want to be drunk so badly because everything sucks.
You got that bottle of my dad's peach schnapps is running out.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Okay. So you spent your high school years there?
Yeah, I went to grade school and high school, and after that I went to LSU for about a year,
Nice.
and it was too crazy a scene, too much partying.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So I went to do the college program at Disney World in Orlando, where you are employed at one of the theme parks, but then during the evening you take Disney either business or marketing or art classes to learn the style of Disney, and it's a great thing. And from there I was like, yeah, I'm not going back to LSU to be an engineer anymore.
Which is that what you were studying?
Yeah.
I mean, were you in drama or acting or music or anything leading up to that?
I did high school plays and musicals, and those were fun, but I never thought you could make a living at it.
Sure.
And yeah, so then I stayed in Orlando and finished up schooling there, but my real schooling was not where I went to college there. It was this theater called SAC Comedy Theater Lab, and we did improv shows like Whose Line, and we do 13 of them a week. 200-seat theater. There wasn't really a lot for locals to do, so they all would come or see our show.
Sure. I mean, was it being involved with Disney that kind of opened your eyes to the possibility of making a living doing that? Or, I mean, how did that start?
I still didn't think I'd make a living at it. I just
liked
this is fun.
Yeah.
I'm having a good time. So and the improv stuff was fun, and it still didn't seem like I could make a living at it.
I love improv.
It's great.
I mean, do you still practice?
Oh, yeah, sure.
It's so much fun.
It is, and that's where I actually met Wayne Brady and a bunch of other great people, and we also kind of started there at that comedy improv theater in Orlando, Florida.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's still there, SAC Theater.
Okay.
SAK.
So tell me the transition from studying engineering. I mean, okay, so you studied engineering, you dropped out, you went to the Disney program.
I shouldn't even say I studied engineering. I went to the first year of college, which is all just like basic math.
Sure.
And I would
all
gone
the 101
from
classes.
Yeah. I had gone from a really hard private Catholic high school in Mobile where everything was like essays, and it burnt me out, to LSU. It was like, there's 300 in my class. It's multiple choice. I don't even have to go. I can read the chapter and be there for the test and get a B.
Sure.
Like, it was that kind of thing.
Yeah,
so
I felt the same way.
I didn't study engineering.
Yeah.
But it was no challenge. Yeah. Where did you go to school?
Well, I mean, I started in when I was young, I started in private school, and then I went to preparatory school, and then I went to Montessori. So we kind of moved around, and then I ended up going to public school for my 6th grade on. And I had the same experience in 6th grade. I was like, really? This is that's crazy. You know, I went back to school in my late 30s to study film, and I felt then the same way I did as a 6th grader. I was like, these people are retarded. Wow. It's crazy. Wow. But, you know, I'm kind of squeaking by as a singer. So I guess that joke's on me.
And your podcast is called Living with
a Genius.
See, I figure that because I'm not a genius, so I don't, that I'm not in that, and then you're not talking about yourself. This is an apology to your wife.
That's right.
But like, I'm going to bring some creepy dudes over every week, and then but I get to say that I'm living with you and you're a genius. So that's how you am I right?
No, it's funny because I came across the title. I was listening to a Mark Maron interview, and he was talking about some concept that he had called Living with a Genius. And I was thinking about this podcast, and I was starting the podcast. I was looking for a name, and I thought, oh my God, that's an awesome name. I'm not sure why I like that name, but that's what I'm going to use. So really, I kind of spent the first 10 episodes or so trying to figure out what I was thinking. And I've come to the conclusion that actually my guests are the geniuses, and that I'm living with you guys for like an hour or so at a time.
Well, I hate to let you down today, my man.
I mean, I don't mean to put any pressure on, but what do you got?
Exactly.
All right. So when did you figure out that you could actually do this, to make enough money to support a family? How did that happen? First of all, did you have other jobs leading up to?
No. So what happened was I finished up college in Orlando. I got a degree in psychology, just in case, I was like, you got to have a degree because you never know what.
Let me sit up straight. And look
no.
Okay.
It was the same thing. These were all classes with 200 people and check the box. So I know nothing about human behavior. At all. But the local theater, the SAC Theater Place, we had started, doing really well, and I started improv classes, and I had different levels of classes. It's a lot like a Second City or UCB or Groundlings, but it was in Florida. And then in '95, the core group of us said, let's just go to LA. So over a period of about 6 months to a year, we all moved, all 7 of us, to Los Angeles. And I had 6 months of nothing. And
were you by yourself? Did you have a girlfriend? Did you?
No, by myself.
Just came out
Lived
by yourself.
in a 1-bedroom apartment in Sherman Oaks.
Okay.
And after 6 months of I think I did temp work for a couple days here and there, but right around the 6-month mark, I just started booking commercials, and it did not stop for 10 years.
Wow. And
lots of commercials. And back then they paid even way more than they do now.
Yeah.
So I suddenly just and since then, that was 95. I haven't stopped working. I haven't had a bad year yet. And it's been 20 something years. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's
Why do you think they're paying less for that kind of work now? What's the deal?
Oh, there's a whole shakeup of the industry now, with it used to in the 60s and 70s, one commercial, because there were 3 networks, you could make $80,000, $100,000.
Sure.
So by the time I started doing it, you'd make 30 or 40, which is still great. And then now there's so many outlets, and there's people want to advertise on Facebook
diluted,
and Google, diluted, and there's unions seem to be getting weaker. So there's it's almost turned into a hobbyist activity, acting. Which is sad.
Yeah, I see that. I mean, I see that with my union. I'm with AGMA, and I think classical music has more of a, at least it has more of a niche. It has a much smaller audience, but that audience is dedicated to our art form, and they buy our art form.
Yeah.
And when we advertise using our, like for instance, we do radio simulcasts of the operas downtown, and we get paid a pretty good bump extra for it, because a huge percentage of people who are interested in opera will tune in.
Yeah.
I think with commercials and stuff, I mean, like you said, it's just, I don't even know how, except for banners that you see on your homepage, or if how do they even monetize that?
Well, they monetize it for themselves pretty easily. How do they keep track of it for the actors is a different thing.
Right.
And the union certainly has not caught up to the technology of being able to track all that.
Yeah.
And so the way they do it is they just will buy you out. So here's $400 for 3 months, and they can run it on Facebook as much as they want. There's things like that.
Right.
As opposed to the residual thing, which was every time it airs on network, it's $500, and then the second time 400 and 300. Then after 3 weeks, it starts over again, 500, 400, 300.
Right.
So
now the other side of the coin for us is similar to what you're talking about too. In film work, because there's so many great musicians all over the world.
Yeah.
In the 50s, it was the Hollywood sound. Like if you wanted the Hollywood sound in quotes, you had to record in Hollywood. Now you can record in Seattle, you can record in Cincinnati, you can record in London for sure. I mean, a lot of work goes to London. And the unions here typically just won't budge. So unless it's a structured deal, they won't do it here in town. They don't allow buyouts. So that's been a kind of a bone of contention for our union as well. I don't know what the solution is. I don't think we can go back to what you're talking about. Yeah. I think those days are over.
I think you're right.
I don't want them to be.
I mean, the good thing for us, both as artists, is that in this period of history, even though we felt like we've gone back a little, has there ever been a time when artists could have a house and kids? And I mean, usually you travel in a traveling show and steal food from a trash can and then sing, and then you're like,
no, that's true.
Things are good now for us.
That's true. As long as we have the unions. I mean, I don't know. I don't know where you fall politically, but I feel like unions are in real jeopardy right now. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm pulling myself away from politics. It's just, it's overwhelming, and it doesn't help me to think about it every day.
I know. I've fallen into that lately. Actually, I wrote a 3-page essay that I posted yesterday about it.
Yeah.
I've never felt so nervous, and that's from my political perspective. I know that not everybody shares that, and that's fine. But I need to take your advice, because it really, I wake up just like I've been starting the day with a writer's almanac with Garrison Keillor, just so that I don't want to commit suicide by lunch.
I kind of think that people are all the same no matter what their beliefs are, and I also think politicians are kind of the same. I'm an independent, so I have things on the left, I believe, and things on the right.
Sure. But I think like most people.
Yeah, like most people.
Yeah.
But I mean, of my friends that are Republicans, the fear you're having, you wouldn't have known this, but when Obama was elected president, they were sure that socialism was coming, sure of it, and horrified and scared. So it's, I see
I've been thinking about that.
I see similarities between, and I'm just like, you people, everybody's the same. We're all people. And yeah, you can disagree on what method forward do you see as best for our country, but at the same time, it's we're all we all are kind of scared of the same thing, which is this totalitarian or socialist or just authority taking away our freedoms. So
what do you think the role of the artist is in this whole?
Oh, I'm glad you asked me that.
Yeah. What's your opinion?
I've heard people come right out and say the responsibility of the artist is to blah 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 blah, and I completely disagree with that. I think that if you choose to make it that's great for you. For me,
you don't use your platform for that.
No, by choice, and I have no problem with people that do that. But a lot of people, say, hey, my grandmother was sick in the hospital, and so we were watching Let's Make a Deal on Whose Lines Anyway, and you were making us laugh, and you got us through a hard time. And if that person had seen me either pro-Trump or pro-Hillary the day before ranting, it would not give them that chance to I am just comedy. I am just escapism. I'm the Snickers bar. It's the snack. I'm not. There's nothing deep happening here. But when you want to just enjoy and not think about that, I like to be that option.
Yeah, I straddle the line. Part of me has become more of an activist than I ever thought I would be, and the other part of me is focusing on doing the art that I do better than I ever have.
Yeah,
I think that says that. I think we have that in common. Like, I feel like I need to be the best at what I do.
Yeah.
To just make people feel good. They come to see the opera at the Dorothy Chandler, the lights go down, the orchestra starts. And if I can contribute to 3 hours of joy, then that's doing a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's doing a lot. And you can do whatever you want to do with that. If you want to make it political, you can. But we as artists have the right to do whatever we want. That's why we got into arts, to make our art however we want without anybody telling us, you got to do it this way, or you have to do it that way.
Right. Now, with all the things that you do, commercials and voiceovers and comedy and live theater and film, have you done some film work? Which do you prefer the most? What do you like?
Oh, man. Nothing compares to a live improv show. It's just when you have, anywhere from 10 people to 2,000 people.
Yeah.
We've done shows for 10,000 before. That thing of being a director and writer and actor all at the same time is just great.
I agree.
And
I agree.
So it's the same with you.
How do you deal with I don't know how to say it. Like I've had some really terrible auditions and some terrible performances as an improv actor. I mean, we used to do this thing called Opera Lab,
right?
And we'd go to schools, and the kids would just say, "Oh, we want this opera to be about this, and then this happens, and because of that, this happens," and then we just come up with it. And sometimes it's terrible. What do you do? Well, how do you get over that? Have you ever been to in a place where you're just like, God, I just don't want to do this anymore?
No. Not. I mean, if it's improv, I have no problem with it. When it's scripted is when I have the problem, because then it's like you're doing someone else's lines, and I've done some writing too. Writers work hard on their lines, and sometimes they will spend weeks up till 2 a.m. writing their lines. And here you are showing up at this audition thinking you have a better line than 12 of the highest paid sitcom writers. So I feel afraid sometimes in scripted things to improvise, even though I feel like that's my natural inclination. I still do it. But
now, whenever I've done when I was in film school, we did some projects, and whenever I directed, I would always have the actors read off the paper first, and then do 2 or 3 improv takes. To just get everything. Maybe, I mean, is that typically how it works for you, or?
No, it's a little more of a assembly line, I think, when it comes to auditions. It's they're seeing 50 or 60 people, they got to get through them all. In truth, they could take the time and say, hey, okay, here's what we want you to do. We want to direct you this way. We want to try this. But because there's so many great actors and they're going to see so many people, they're like, bring us your choice, and if it's wrong, we're not going to always tell you. We're just going to see the next, because someone's going to have it right.
Well, it's like, they're looking for a needle in a haystack, but in this town, there are, a million needles. So
exactly, but I think a lot of times it's like, I'm looking at the people waiting to go in. I'm like, any one of these guys could do the part.
Right.
But sometimes it's about who's going to guess at what they want the best. But if they simply were to say to someone that did it wrong, no, do this, do that, then they would nail it, right? So it's kind of a...
Yeah, how do you prepare? I mean, how do you prepare for that?
You have to pick a choice. You just pick one
and go with it.
And go with 100%. And even if it's totally wrong, but they see that you're talented, the casting person will go, oh yeah, that wasn't right, but that guy was pretty good. So maybe I'll bring him back next week for something else.
Yeah, that's happened to me. I mean, as an opera singer, I had an audition out in Cincinnati, and I didn't hear anything. I mean, I didn't get it. And then 7 months later, they called and said, hey, we need you for this thing. So yeah, that
stuff happens like that.
I mean, do you find that it's just a numbers game? Do you try to go to as many auditions as you can? How do you do?
As many as I can.
Just keep throwing it up on the wall.
Yeah, it's a pure numbers game. I think, like for commercials at least, I used to keep track of them all, and I think I'd go on about, I would say 150 a year maybe, getting called back to maybe 30 of them, and then booking like 10. That was back when I was really doing a lot more commercials. Now I don't do nearly as much, just because the game show schedule and things like that.
Yeah, is that what do you look for now? What
now it's just during
what excites you the most? And do you get nervous for things more than others?
Yeah, I get nervous, but it's just a general uncomfortableness for anything where I have to prove myself.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I feel the same way.
I mean, it could be an audition for a regional burger spot that no one's going to see, or a big movie part, and I go to the equal place of having to poop real bad before I walk in.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and just feeling terrible. And then when it's over, it's like, oh, I feel great. It's done. Don't even care if I was good or not. I just care that it's done.
Yeah, that you didn't have a heart attack or die.
Yeah.
Like, okay. It's like getting a flu shot.
Yeah, exactly. But everybody there is going through the same stuff. I think. I hope. That's what I tell myself.
Yeah, I mean, I've had some real nerve problems. I went through a period in college where, I had to go to a shrink just to get my mojo back. Has that ever happened?
I've never had to go to a shrink for that, but
I take beta blockers now for auditions.
I know people that do that. Take beta blockers and theanine and stuff like that. But no, I also, even though I hate the nervous energy, I like it too, because it makes me hyper aware. And my favorite thing that always works for me in any audition is when something goes wrong, because my training is improv. So like if the phone rings during my audition, or one time a poster fell off the wall, I'm like, I instantly reference that and put it in the scene. When things go wrong is when I'm able to actually, I think, stand out from the other guys. But if everything's perfectly smooth, it's just another actor. Yeah, he was good.
Yeah.
So are these other 65 people.
Yeah. Now you're married and you have kids. Yeah.
Married, yeah.
Is your wife an actress as well?
She is an actress, and she's a writer. She was a singer dancer. She toured with Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat for many years with Donny Osmond. And she did lots of Chicago theater.
And how did you guys meet in Orlando?
No, we met out here, actually.
Oh, you did?
She lived next door to a friend of mine from Alabama, and we met and hit it off, and 2 kids, and 15, 16 years later. So,
yeah, I find that kids really changed the whole game. I got real serious when I had kids.
Yeah, they suck the soul out of you and empty you, but they're great.
They're super.
And yours are young, so I've been through what you're in.
Well, I'm an old dad. I didn't get married until I was 40, so I was just trying to figure it out. I don't think. Well, I didn't have the money, but I had the energy. Now I've got the money and I have no energy.
No energy. I get it.
Yeah.
I totally get it.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
And now we're going, like I said earlier, we're going through schools.
Yeah.
And it seems like that's everything that people talk about now.
Yeah.
Who have kids my age.
And so your youngest is not yet in kindergarten?
No. As a matter of fact, our 4-year-old is at, we do like I don't want to say homeschool because it's got such a negative connotation, but it's homeschool. And we have a meetup group my wife takes them to a meetup group twice a week. So none of our kids are really in structure. So that was part of the challenge. Yeah. Looking at these other schools, the first thing they notice is like, oh, well, he's going to have trouble sitting down at the desk and blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. I really am not sure what to do about it.
It's one thing you'll notice, and it's probably happened a little bit since you've had kids, but it happens even more when they go into school, is that your whole group of friends just completely changes. Yeah. You just all the friendships are based on, because you see these people every day now. So it's all based on your kids.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know what's going to happen when high school starts in 2 years from my oldest, because then it's going to be like, oh, now you're not going to see these people that you've seen. Do friendships keep going, or do they? I mean, what happens? Do your old friends come back?
Well, I would imagine a bunch of the kids, move on together. Yeah. To the same school.
Not as much as you'd think.
No?
I think that from our 8th grade at the school my kids go to, that there's 6, 7, or 8 different high schools they all kind of splinter off to.
And are they private?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing. When I was a kid, public school was fine.
Yeah, not anymore.
I know, especially not here.
No.
It's a real drag. I mean, the school that we're looking at is, for a 4-year-old, is $29,000 a year.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, what the hell?
Yep. Makes homeschooling look really good.
It's unbelievable. Now, the problem with homeschooling is that it's exhausting.
Yeah.
When you have to do it 24/7.
Right.
All the time, which we kind of do. I mean, I grew up in a pretty radical household where we were always being educated all the time.
What if you hired someone for $29,000 a year?
Yeah, you mean
to be a private
Swedish au pair that lives in
the
office?
Oh, now you're getting dirty. Okay, that's fine if you want to go there.
I mean, for $29,000 a year.
Hey, man, your fantasy is your fantasy.
Yeah, I don't know. We're kind of, I don't know. I don't know what to do. So tell me what's your steady gig right now besides?
So we do a game show called Let's Make a Deal.
Sure, I've heard of that. Yes.
It's been on this new version, Wayne Brady hosting and myself as the kind of sidekick co-host. This will be our 9th season. So we shoot a whole year's worth in 4 months. So from June, July, August, September, and then we're done.
Wow.
So that's why I'm here talking to you.
Sweet,
and
man.
not there. Yeah, it's a great schedule and a great gig.
Yeah.
And it gives me a lot of time to do the writing, and I'm pitching projects and trying to create things and making homemade pilots and a lot of that stuff in between. I should just relax and like golf and like go to the beach but I can't. I can't stop the machine from churning in my head.
That's the thing. I can, but I get really depressed if I don't work.
Yeah.
Like we get from the opera, we get a couple months off a year in the summer, and you'd think it's like summer vacation. Sounds great.
Yeah.
But I don't know. 3 weeks in, I just don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I really start to get depressed. That's actually why I went to film school, just to get something else going. That's why I have this podcast, just so that I have something to look forward to. I know I have to release something every Monday.
Yep.
And without that deadline, I'm prone to sloth, and I won't do it.
Yeah, me too.
That's the problem. So how long is this Let's Make a Deal?
We've been doing it for 8 years. So this is the 9th season.
And then do you go year by year? You have to renegotiate your contract, or do you go by like
no? So the first one was 7 years, and then we renegotiated.
Okay.
And now we'll be starting year 2 of a 3-year extension. So
and that's been on the air forever and ever, right?
Well, yeah, Monty Hall had the original, and some other people tried versions of it.
Yeah.
And didn't work out. But Wayne is such a genius at improv that he and the producers really turned it into more of a variety show with a game show element than just the game show. We improvise songs. We'll start rapping in the middle of something. We can do whatever we want. There's no constraints on us.
Yeah.
Which, since you're in the music business, I should tell you about our keyboard player, who is his name is Cat Gray. He's an amazing guy. Yeah. He used to tour with Prince. What he's doing on the game show is it's weird because it's a game show on CBS, but what he's doing is so cutting edge musically because he is live scoring it as it goes. So he's got his keyboard and his sound effects and this and that, and
it's all improv.
He tours with us doing the comedy improv show too, but he'll have certain tracks he'll play for excitement, and he knows when to stop it with all of his pedals. And then Wayne will just decide, because someone's dressed like a cowboy, he'll be like, well, hey there, and then he's like, and he's got all the patches and and he'll start playing a country song, and then he just does it live the whole show. And there's no other show where that is scored live, like what he's doing.
That's
so
amazing.
Next time you watch the show, if you're a musician listening, watch what he's doing, because it's crazy.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
And tell me about the projects that you're working on yourself.
So I like to write a lot. I have several different writing partners that I work with, and
do you ever? I have writing partners as well, and I find that it is a lot more fun.
It's
Are you
not
more
only
of a collaborative person?
It's not even that I'm more of a collaborative person. It's just I need to know I have to be somewhere.
Me too,
right?
man. Yeah.
So my buddy Aaron Shore, who was a writer on Everyone Loves Raymond and The Office, we've written a couple projects together. We've shot one pilot, and then we actually sold something to the Playboy network. About 6 months ago, we got to shoot something for them.
Okay.
No boobies. They wanted just comedy, by the way. It's not
sure. Well, that's why I used to get Playboys, for the jokes.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and the boobs, of course.
Yeah, exactly. So actually, Playboy decided they're not going to do any content. So we own that now. So we'll be out pitching that this year. I have a couple improv game shows that I'm working on a deal right now with the production company to take out and pitch. So it's just it's a constant.
Do you find the pitch to be nerve-wracking?
I find pitches way easier than acting auditions.
Oh, you do?
Because at a pitch, you already like the product, so you're excited to talk about it, and you just want to make sure you hit all the beats, but you can be yourself.
It's
and you
just
can be
a
charming.
chit-chat.
But an audition is like, these are your lines, and if you mess this up, you'll mess up the punchline.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do? Stop in the middle and look like an asshole? No.
Oh boy, I've had those auditions myself. Man. I mean, as a matter of fact, I'm going in with an audition tomorrow. It's the biggest audition of the year for me. Wow. And I'm going to go in with a number that I really screwed up like 5 years ago with the same guy. I'd taken Xanax and a Valium, and I thought it was something else. And by the time I got to the audition, I was out of my mind. And the song's in English, and I had to literally stop in the middle of it and walk around to the piano.
Wow.
Yeah. So I know what you're talking about. Wow. It's nerve-wracking.
It is. What do you like? Would you normally sing an operatic piece?
Yeah, I mean, I have to. Yeah.
Do they tell you what to? Do you to come in with what you want, or do they say no? Pick one of these three.
No. So they set parameters. They say you've got to come in with two ready to go in two different languages. It used to be, when I brought this up 6 years ago, the rule then was no English. Of course, I started with an English aria and I screwed it up. So now they've gotten rid of that. And
do accents count as a foreign language?
No. So they also do like some sight singing.
Oh wow!
Where they'll just put some music out and they say sing that.
Wow!
So you have to sing that. Then they'll go over a phrase in French and then a phrase in German that you have to recite.
Even if the show is going to be in German, you have to be able to do it in French.
So the audition's for the season. So during the season, we'll do, sometimes things in Russian, sometimes in French, German, Italian, usually Italian, English. So we have to be. It's a lot, man.
Yeah,
it's a lot. It doesn't. When I think with the arts in general, people who aren't in the arts don't understand the amount of dedication that goes into like improv. I mean, you've probably done 10,000 hours of improv.
Yeah.
And you get up and you do your thing and people think it's funny and they don't realize the lifetime of work that it takes.
Every weekend of my life since I was 19.
Yeah,
pretty
exactly.
much. Yeah.
Exactly. And so people, may see you on Let's Make a Deal and they say, oh, I could do that. Yeah. And then I always say, but you didn't.
People ask because Whose Lines Anyway is another show I do, which is an all improv show. And people say, how do you get on that?
Yeah.
I go, oh, it's so easy, man. Just start taking improv and then do it every day of your, almost every day of your life for 20 years.
Yeah. So by the time you're 85, you'll have
and
it.
then make sure your best friend's the star of the show.
Exactly.
With those two easy pieces, you'll get on Whose Line and a piece of cake.
Yeah, I know. That's the advice that I give. I love when I was in education, as far as opera, improv stuff, I considered, it is opera education. We'd always have a Q&A, and that's always my favorite part. And they say, how do you get into this? And usually they're little kids, so you can actually give them advice that they can actuate. But as an adult, I mean, I'm really the outlier, having started so late.
Yeah.
Like my son is 4 and he's playing, we're starting to play the piano. I didn't even think about that until I was in my 20s.
Wow.
So I'm definitely atypical.
But were you like the guy at the karaoke? Like, oh man,
Never.
Omar can kill that karaoke.
Never, man.
Well, then how did they know you could sing?
Never. I used to sing in the car with my mom when I was little.
Right.
and she did too, like everybody does. And then I've told this on the podcast before, but I was accepted to the UCLA creative writing program. I was a writer as well, and still do some writing. And I was at junior college, and I needed to take a science class that I ended up not being able to get into. And so I took a music class, and I didn't read any music. So the teacher, handed out this song to learn, which was a Liszt song, I think. And so I learned it by rote, just listening to it on, I guess, cassette tape back then, or CD. And I came in and sang it. And leading up to that day, I knew that I've discovered that I could sing, basically. I had good pitch. I have good musical sensibility. And then I ended up getting a scholarship. And I called my mom at 24 years old and said, Mom, I'm moving back home. I need to learn how to do this. She said,
wow.
Okay.
I love that you just discovered you could sing. Oh, yeah. I can sing, everybody.
Yeah. It was really fun.
Wow.
And it was kind of a cop out, because I figured, well, this seems really easy compared to, little did I know. It took a lot of work to do it. And now I get to do it, all the time. We're in a show right now downtown.
How does it work with opera singing as far as age, and is there an ageism thing that happens as well?
No.
It seems like you guys can keep singing all the time.
So my boss is a guy named Placido Domingo. He's a tenor, and
I've heard of him.
Yeah, he's 70, just turned 75.
Wow.
And he probably sings 300 days out of the year. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
He conducts also. He conducts opera performances. But he went from a tenor to being a baritone, and at 75, he's adding new roles to his... He's sung more operatic roles than anybody in the history of the art form.
Unbelievable.
Which is hundreds of years old.
Wow.
And so really it's truly a meritocracy. Well, I shouldn't say truly. For the most part, like you said, knowing people helps. You still have to have the chops, obviously. I've heard some lousy singers, of course, but then singers have bad days too.
Yeah.
It's not, I guess, I don't know if it's like acting, in that, like, sometimes you just wake up and you can't sing well.
Yeah.
That's just your instrument.
Yep.
If you have a cold or whatever, you're just not going to do a good job that day.
Yeah.
But like you said, just takes years and years, and you just keep doing your thing and hope that they keep hiring you. And
probably as a professional, even if you have a show that you don't think is your best show, a lot of the audience wouldn't know.
That's right. Yeah, you're at a certain level where your bad days are still pretty good.
Yeah.
And I think that's true for all of the arts, actually. Have you ever found yourself in a position because of life circumstances or something that you kind of lost your ability a little bit, or do you have just so many tools in your bag that you can overcome them?
No, I think what happens is, when I get to a point like that where it's all just crashing down, I just will get a cold, like I'll just get the flu.
Your body will take care of it.
Body will take care of it.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, there are times when there's so much happening and this, that, and I'll be like, I want to get sick now.
Yeah.
This is when I want to get sick. And then I'll get sick.
Yeah.
And then I go home in the bed for a week. No one can bug me. I'm drinking NyQuil every night.
You have an excuse. It's not like you're...
It's like I
haven't had a nervous breakdown.
I was sick.
Yeah.
So that happens naturally to me.
Yeah.
It's a nice little stopgap that just pops up if I get too busy or too overwhelmed.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, when you shot the... I'm sorry to jump around, but you said something about you shot a pilot. Do you direct it as well?
No. So I wrote it and produced it.
And then how do you find the people to...
Well, so on the first one that Aaron and I did, which was called Open Carry, you can actually go find it. It's opencarryshow.com, OPENCARRIE show.com.
Oh, okay.
And it's a show about a group of people that want to display their Second Amendment rights to walk around with their firearms. Okay. And they're kind of a haphazard group of, misfits.
Sure.
So I got my buddy Wayne Brady to play a part in that. And then we did casting for some other people. You have a casting session.
Yeah.
Find some people. I had some great friends, did stuff in there. And then it did the film festival circuit and got a lot of nice notice. So, the hope was to turn that into a TV show, but the subject matter, even though networks say they want edgy, they weren't ready to bite on guns as an edgy topic.
That's really tough to predict what they're gonna, unless you have an inside scoop and you know the people personally. But we I've written a screenplay, and the guy at Warner said, I want Judd Apatow style screenplay.
Right.
So my partner and I, we wrote that. And he's like, well, I don't know.
The truth is, I've found that it really has nothing to do with the content. It's about the social landscape. Here's an opera singer that is bringing me a script, as opposed to here's a guy that wrote this and he's with that and they hang out here and they do this together. And it's like sometimes I feel like when I'm pitching things, they're like, you're a comedian trying to be.
They're very monocular in the way that
they are and
interpret things.
You can break through that. People do all the time, which is why we keep at it.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to tell you is don't let that be a knock on the work you've done.
Right.
Sometimes it has nothing to do with the work you've done.
Well, I'll tell you, being a musician, you develop some pretty thick skin.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah. I mean, I know that I get turned down sometimes because I don't fit in the costume. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Oh, man.
When you're dealing with a $5,000 costume, you gotta, anyway.
Wow.
That's it. So where are you off to today? Tell me about this audition.
Today I have a commercial callback. So what commercials work is you have an audition, and they, see a couple hundred people, and then they pick maybe their favorite 10 or 15, and you go back again.
Yeah.
And except this time, instead of just a casting director with a camera, there'll be the director and the clients, and so I'm going back to do that today for a commercial.
Anything else? Anything else you want to? What else you got?
Plug? So
what do you want to pitch?
Let's Make a Deal's on CBS every day at 9:00.
Okay.
Check it out. I do Whose Line Is It Anyway? I rotate as one of the cast members on that show, so that's on the CW.
Yeah.
And then I tour quite frequently with Wayne Brady. We do a 2-man improv show. We've been buddies forever. I'm actually not touring with him during this month because he is doing Hamilton in Chicago. He's playing Burr, and I just saw it, and he was incredible. I'd never seen the show.
Oh, it's a great show, isn't it?
And so I got to see my buddy do it, and it was the first time I saw the show. So it was really
terrific.
Yeah. I was so blown away by the show.
Are you a song and dance man too, or no?
I comedy sing, so I can sing it out.
Yeah. You have to on the show.
In key with the jokes, but I'm not a singer.
I see.
But Wayne is.
Yeah.
He actually can sing, and he was great. The whole show was amazing.
That's fantastic.
I had just in my mind, everyone's screaming about Hamilton. It's so great. It's so great. And I'm thinking, but it's a rap show. I thought it was all rap.
I thought the same thing.
The whole thing was rap.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, I don't mind rap. I don't listen to it all the time.
I thought the same thing.
And then I was like, it's a musical.
I also found that the more I listened to it, I was really resistant to it, actually. And my wife would play it during dinner downstairs. And by like the third or fourth night, it's just packed with so much information.
Yeah.
And it's really valuable. I mean, I learned a lot.
Yeah.
Just through listening to it. And the music's fantastic.
If Lin-Manuel could do that with every historical figure, we'd know everything.
Smart nation.
We would be, exactly.
All right, man. Well, I sure appreciate you coming.
Absolutely. Great meeting you.
Yeah, same here. Thanks a lot. Well, there you have it, folks. John Mangum, the first comedian I've had on the show. And I am used to speaking with musicians. And I just realized that after that interview, and that's something I got to work on. So I'd like to get more people that aren't musicians. Not that I love musicians, of course. I just want to diversify, And I realize I've got to develop some other skills to make for a more entertaining interview. So, but that's me. That's part of me. A big part of me judges the work that I do. That's one of the reasons that I put every single interview up on the website for you to listen to, whether I think it's good or not, because I'm trying to get over that. It's unhealthy. I work hard, and I do the best that I can, and sometimes you do better than others, and that needs to be okay. Like, for instance, I had this audition a couple days ago at LA Opera, and I, all I could think about were the little things I did wrong, and 2 people who were in the audition have caught me since then and have just gushed about how much I stood out and how great of an audition it was. And I mean, I don't even feel comfortable acknowledging it, So anyway, I put this up. I hope you liked it. I'll try and do better with my guests who aren't in exactly the same field that I'm in. I've got to figure out how to do that a little bit better. And I like it. I like learning. I'm learning on the job, just like all of us, through this life. I guess that's it. Thank you to Greg Geiger for helping me with my theme song. Still loving it, buddy. Go to laclassical.com. Thank you to Michael Nielsen again for setting me up with this guest and for letting me use his terrific Shure SM7B microphone. Shure America, if you're listening, send me some mics. I love them. I hope you all have a great Monday and the rest of the week. I look forward to this day every week, and I can't wait to see you again. Until next time.